Hello everyone, welcome. So if you're new here, my name is Akila, and today I'm going to be taking you through a Vinyasa flow that's going to be prepping you for some arm balances. So the main arm balance we're going to be working towards today is forearm balance. So we're going to be doing a lot of core work, a lot of shoulder strengthening and opening. For today, you're going to want to have 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks and you have books of a similar size and shape, preferably hardcover because we are going to be laying on them today, you can use those as well if you don't have blocks. So we're just going to set up for a supported fish pose to start out in today. So you can have your blocks one of 2 ways. You can have one block on the horizontal length and the other on the vertical, or you can have them like an equal sign. So it's really just going to depend on what you find more comfortable. If you have them in an equal sign, the bottom block is going to come to your mid-back area. And then if you have it vertical, you're going to have the block coming straight down your spine. And you're going to have your head laying back onto your second block. So you may take that one to a lower height. And the legs can extend long here. And just taking a gentle opening into the shoulders and the upper back here. So it may take some adjusting and some experimentation with the blocks to find a comfortable position here. And we're just going to be here for a couple minutes, so if you are finding yourself fidgeting, trying to find the blocks in a comfortable place, don't worry, we'll be here for a little while. You can catch up to us when you're ready. And just starting to lengthen the breath here, inhaling deeply through the nose. And then keeping the lips sealed, exhale through the nose as well. Maybe your breath starts to sound like a gentle ocean wave. Feeling the fronts of the shoulders melt over the block and towards the floor. There may be some intense sensations in the back of the body. Maybe your block is finding a knot in your back. Just try to be diligent here. And try and stay with any sensations that come up. Of course, if there's something painful, you can roll off the blocks and readjust yourself. But if you've just come into a sticky place, maybe just try and ride it out. See if any extra space becomes available to you. If you'd like to, you can hug the arms around yourself and just tap the backs of the shoulders maybe. You can rock a little side to side on your block if you'd like to. And then reverse the cross of the other arms on top. And then maybe let your arms fall back to the sides again and see if there's any difference. Take one more breath here. Inhaling deeply. On your exhale, you can gently roll yourself over to one side, coming off of the blocks. You're going to press yourself up into a seat. Eyes can blink open and we'll meet on the shins. You can always sit onto a block if you'd like to. Put the block in between your feet. And we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back. Stretch the fists down towards the floor and open up across the front of the shoulders. And from here, you're just going to take the fists over to the left side and bring them to your left hip, bending into both elbows. And you're going to take the neck to stretch gently over towards the right. So getting that nice long stretch along the left side of the neck. Like opening up into the front of that left shoulder. Gently bringing the head back through the center and take that interlace of the fingers over to your right hip. Head falls over to the left. Big inhale here. And as you exhale, maybe there's a little extra length in the neck. Take one more breath here. And on your next exhale, letting the head come back through the center, arms back through center, and release the grip of the hands. You can roll out the wrists. And we'll take our time coming to meet in a tabletop position. From here, you're going to come down onto the forearms and step the feet all the way back, finding your forearm plank here. So we want to make sure the elbows are aligned underneath of the shoulders, palms press firmly into the floor, and you want to make sure that your forearms are parallel. And from here, we're just going to walk the feet in, sending the hips up on a diagonal. And then your shoulders can come a little bit behind the elbows. We're going to come into dolphin pose. So just like down dog, but on the forearms. So what I always say in down dog is that we want to prioritize the lengthening of the spine over the straightness of the legs. So if you need to bend the legs a lot here, that is totally fine. In fact, I encourage it, especially this early in the class. So inhales are going to be for dolphin. Exhales, we're going to walk the feet back, find your forearm plank, chest shines forward. Inhale to walk the feet back up, dolphin pose. And exhale, feet walk back, forearm plank. Inhale, dolphin. Feet walk in, hips come up and back. Head drops. And exhale, forearm plank. Nice straight line from the top of the head through to the heels. Active in the legs. Inhale, we come to our dolphin. I know the shoulders are probably burning right now. Try and stay with it as much as you can. Exhale, walk the feet back, finding your forearm plank here. Chest shines forward, belly hugs in towards the spine. Inhale, dolphin. Walking the feet in. Hips come up and back. And exhale, we're going to press into the palms of both hands. Maybe the elbows lift to find your first down dog of practice. Big inhale here. And exhale, we settle. On your next inhale, look forward between the hands, come up onto the balls of the feet, bend into the knees. And we're going to take a little walk with the feet up to the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. Head hangs heavy here. Bend into the knees if you need to. Inhale rolls you all the way up to stand, one vertebrae at a time. When you reach the top, arms reach up and overhead. And exhale, arms come down by the sides, coming into Tadasana. On your next inhale, we're going to interlace the fingers behind the back again. And just as we did before, but standing this time, opening across the chest and fists pulled down towards the floor. Really squeeze into the glutes here. And on your exhale, you can let go of the grip of the hands or keep it as you come to your forward fold. If you still have the grip of the hands, really try and bring your pinky fingers towards the wall in front of you. Big inhale here. Exhale, hands release. Finding the floor, bending into the knees. And step the feet back, finding your plank pose. Big inhale here. Exhale, instead of chaturanga in the tree today, we're going to attempt to lower both forearms at the same time with control. Inhale here. Exhale, drop the knees. Sit the hips back, finding a child's pose. Head rests the mat for a moment. On your next inhale, press into the palms, come forward through your tabletop position, tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So we're taking this little sun A with a few modifications, a few more times. So inhale, looking forward between the hands, come up onto the balls of the feet, bend into the knees. Exhale, you can step or take a little hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, finding length in the spine, look forward, pull the chest through. And exhale, we fold over the legs, letting the head drop. Inhale, rolling all the way up to stand, arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, hands transit through the heart space, down by the sides, Tadasana. Interlacing the fingers, this time try and do the other thumb on top, if you can remember which one you did. And taking that interlace and pulling it down towards the floor, chest opens up, glutes squeeze, gaze maybe comes up towards the sky. And on the exhale, with or without the clasp of the hands, we fold forward. Big inhale here. Exhale, compress the chest towards the thighs. One more inhale here. And exhale, release the hands, bending into the knees any amount that you need to plant the hands to the floor. And we step back, finding our plank pose. Experimenting again, if you'd like to try and drop both forearms at the same time on your exhale. Finding your forearm plank. Big inhale here. Exhale, knees drop. Hips sit back, finding a child's pose. You can take a little rock side to side if you'd like to here. Big inhale. And exhale, let yourself fall into the floor. Really enjoying these brief moments of rest scattered within a very physical practice. Next inhale takes you forward to your tabletop position to tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. We'll take that one more time before we start to get into the main flow of today. So on your inhale, looking forward between the hands, up onto the toes, bend into the knees, and then step or hop your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, finding length in the spine. And exhale, we fold forward, letting the chest waterfall towards the floor. Inhale, rolling up slowly all the way to stand. Arms reach up overhead. Really expansive here. And exhale, hands come through the heart, down by the sides. One more time, we'll take that interlace. Do it with your stranger thumb on top this time. So we're gonna do an uneven number. So we just wanna try and go for the side we wouldn't normally do. Fist pull down towards the floor, chest opens up. Really grounding into all corners of the feet here. And exhale, folding forward. You can keep the clasp or let it go. Inhale, maybe find a little bit of length in the spine, looking forward. And on your exhale, maybe the hand clasp comes towards the wall in front of you and the chest pulls towards the thighs. One more inhale here. And as you exhale, let the hands release. Palms come to the floor. We step back and find our plank pose. Big inhale here. Exhale last time, both forearms drop, maybe the toes scooch back a little bit to allow the space to arrive in that forearm plank. And last time here on the exhale, knees drop. Hips sit back, child's pose. Your next inhale takes you up into your tabletop position to tuck under the toes, lift the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Big inhale here. Exhale, maybe you sigh it out through the mouth. On your next inhale, experimenting with both of the forearms dropping at the same time. Elbows tap to the floor, dolphin pose. Your next inhale walks your toes back, finding your forearm plank. Big inhale here. Exhale, we're gonna open up onto the right forearm for a forearm side plank. Left arm reaches up towards the ceiling. We're gonna work into the obliques here. So on your inhale, you're going to tap your right hip. On your exhale, lift it back up. Inhale, tap. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap for 3. Exhale, lift. Tap for 4. Exhale, lift. One more, tap for 5. Exhale, lift. And we're gonna come back through the center, finding your forearm plank for a brief moment here. And exhale, let the hips drop towards the floor. Toes can untuck, chest pulls through. Really using the palms and the forearms to traction back, and the chest pulls forward. Finding a sphinx pose here. Really trying to press the tops of the feet into the floor so the legs are nice and active. And squeeze into the glutes so that you're protecting the low back. So if the low back is supported by the strength of the glutes, you're much less likely to wind up with low back problems. So really strengthening it into the legs and the glutes can help to protect the back in the long run. On your next exhale, chest comes to the floor, hands plant underneath the shoulders, toes tucked. We're gonna come up through plank pose. And then hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Your next inhale is going to lift your right leg up and back, 3-legged dog. Lots of energy through the right toes. And as you exhale, curl the right knee in towards the chest. We're going to step the right foot through. And we're going to angle the back foot about 45 degrees. I'm going to come up into a warrior 1. So there are some practitioners that will say warrior 1 has hips completely squared towards the front. I personally believe that as long as your front knee is tracking over your toes and there is intention of trying to take the hips to square, if you're a little bit open, it's okay. Different hips will sit differently. Your femur will sit in your hip socket differently. So some hips do not have the ability to be perfectly square. We'll take one more inhale in your warrior one. On your exhale, you're going to peel open warrior two. Readjust the feet however you need to, so that the heel of the front foot is more or less in line with the arch of the back foot. Back foot comes parallel to the back of the mat. Again here, major importance in the front knee tracking over the toes. So if you look down and you can't see your big toe, then you should probably readjust your knee or your foot. One more inhale here. On your exhale, your left arm is going to sweep down and forward. You're going to flip up onto the back toes, coming into a crescent lunge. Big inhale here. Arms reach up. Energy into the back leg. And on your exhale, maybe hands come to your blocks or the floor. We're going to float the left leg up towards the ceiling, coming into a standing split. So gaze comes down to the floor. Using the fingertips for support, either on the floor or the blocks. Energy through the toes of the top leg. And on your exhale, you're going to take your foot in, your left foot in towards your left wrist. Tap the toes to the wrist, and you're going to cross your left leg over your right, coming into a cross-legged forward fold. You can let the head hang here for a moment. Big inhale here. On your exhale, you're going to walk your fingertips over towards your right. So you're going to unravel the legs and come to face the back of your mat and come down into a malasana squat. So if you got a little tangled, it's okay. And just meet me here in a malasana squat facing the back of your mat, which is going to become the new front of our mat. Big inhale here. And exhale, find some space into the hips. Excellent use of the block here is using it for support underneath of the sit bones if you're feeling like this is a little intense. You can also be up much higher than me if you don't have the same mobility in the ankles or the hips or the knees. In any of the poses that you see me demonstrate, if you're not as deep, that is okay. Experiment with your modifications. I try to offer as many as I can, but it's your practice. So really take the time to explore for yourself what feels good and what feels accessible. All right, this next little bit that we're gonna do, we're gonna experiment with crow pose. I call this crow caterpillar. It's not the technical term for it, it's just what I've come up with. So we're gonna take a little caterpillar crawl with our crow, making our way to the front of the mat. So we're gonna come up, straighten into the legs a little bit and turn the toes forward, plant the hands, and you're gonna place the knees onto the tops of the forearms. And if you're new to crow, maybe you'll start here with the toes still on the ground, but pushing the weight into the hands, looking forward. Maybe one foot lifts, curling in the hamstring, heel to bum. Maybe the other foot lifts. And then we'll come a little bit forward, place the hands a little further forward on the mat and come up again. Again, maybe you start here. Maybe one foot lifts, maybe 2 feet lift. And then put the feet back down. One more time, plant the hands a little further forward, come forward. If you're newer to crow, it's really essential to look at a point in front of you, pull your chest forward, because if you drop your head, you're gonna fall forward. And then we'll place the feet down, extend the legs, come into a forward fold. back of your mat. Big inhale to find length in the spine. And exhale, let it go. Head drops. Inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms reach up overhead. And exhale, hands through the heart. Tadasana. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Standing tall. Exhale, we fold down over the legs. Let the head release. Inhale, finding length in the spine. And exhale, we plant the hands and then step or jump back into your chaturanga, low push-up. Inhale, pull through for a back bend, either up dog or cobra maybe. And exhale, takes the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Big inhale here. Exhale, we let it release. On your next inhale, the forearms drop, elbows tap the same time. Exhale, we walk the feet back, finding your forearm plank. Inhale opens you up to your left side forearm plank, right arm reaches up. Inhale to tap the left hip. Exhale, pull the hips up towards the ceiling. Inhale, tap. Exhale, we lift. Inhale, tap. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap here. Exhale, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. One last time to tap. Exhale, lift. And then we come back through the center, dropping the hips, untucking the toes, pulling the chest through, finding a Sphinx pose. Just a brief bit of restfulness here. Feeling the burning dissipate. And invite big breaths in. Bring oxygen flooding into the muscles and help them bounce back. Next, inhale, comes back through the tabletop. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, the left leg lifts up and back, three-legged dog. Lots of energy through the left toes. Press firmly into the hands. And exhale, bring the knee in towards the chest, planting the left foot in between the hands, angling your back foot to come up for warrior one. So again, front foot is directly pointing forward. Back foot is on that 45-degree angle. And we're working towards the hips squaring forward. But we really want to prioritize lifting up the front of the hips and really tracking the front knee over the toes. Big inhale here. And exhale, open up, warrior two. Big inhale here. And on your exhale, taking the right arm to swim down and forward, flipping up onto the back toes, finding your crescent lunge. Lots of energy into the back leg. Back of the right knee comes up towards the ceiling. Fronts of hips pull up. One more inhale here. And exhale, fingertips come to floor or blocks. And the right leg lifts up towards the ceiling, coming into your standing split. Really squeeze into the right glute to lift the leg higher. One more big inhale here. And exhale, the right toes come to tap the right wrist, crossing the right leg over the left leg. And we fold. Cross-legged forward fold. The inhale is going to walk the fingertips over to the left this time. And again, we unravel the legs and we finish in our Malasana squat back to the front of the mat. So really pressing the elbows into the inner knees here so the chest can pull forward. If your heels are a little bit lifted, that's totally okay. Or if you're higher in the squat. And just work with your body and see. We want to try and push our current limitations while also balancing, taking care, and not pushing too far. So the only person that can truly know what the limit is you. And you can trust yourself to know that. We're going to take those little crow caterpillar crawls. So knees come to the backs of the forearms and we pull forward. Maybe feet lift. And then inch the toes a little further forward. Step the hands forward again. Pull forward. Finding your crow. Heels hug into the bum. And one more time, stepping it forward. Gaze forward at an unmoving point on the floor. Then we'll let the feet release, straighten into the legs, and fold forward. Big inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms reach up overhead. And exhale, hands come into the heart, down by the sides, Tadasana. One more big inhale to reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, we fold, letting the torso drape over the legs. Inhale to find a little bit of length in the spine. Maybe chest pulls forward. Hands can come to shins or blocks. And exhale, planting the hands, either stepping or hopping back through Chaturanga. Inhale pulls you through to your back bend, up dog or cobra. If my microphone just picked up the massive crack in my back, I'm sorry about that. We'll just take the knees to tap. I'm just going to show a little variation for this next part that we're coming into that you can try. Maybe if you're newer to forearm balance, what we're going to be going into next, it can be helpful. So I like to have the block in between the crevices of my thumbs. So it's like my hand is an L and a backwards L. And they're pressing into the block. So the inside edge of my index finger, my thumb is pressing into the block. So this really helps to keep the inner part of the hand, the thumb joint and the index finger grounded into the floor when you're trying to do forearm. Because often what happens is when you start to get upside down, that starts to peel off the floor. And you're just using the outer edge of your hand, which makes it a little bit harder to stay up there and harder to balance. So we want to have as much surface area onto the ground as possible. So if you'd like to, you can take the block in between your hands, tuck the toes. We're going to lift the hips up and back for your down dog. Big inhale here. Exhale, maybe both forearms drop at the same time, elbows tap. And maybe the feet walk in a little bit more. Inhale, right leg comes up and back. And then if you'd like to, you can experiment with kicking off. Maybe coming into your forearm balance. On your next exhale, your left toes drop to the floor. And elbows are gonna lift, right knee is gonna come pull into the chest. Step the right foot through, setting up again for your warrior one. Back foot angles, torso lifts, arms lift up overhead. Big inhale here, arms reach up. As you exhale, we peel open, finding your warrior two. Gaze can't come over the right fingertips. Pressing firmly into both feet, and if you find yourself leaning forward, really try and pull the torso so that you're centered completely. If you had a really long ponytail, it should be dropping directly between your legs. Next, inhale sweeps the left arm down and forwards, flipping up onto the back toes, coming up into your crescent lunge. Big inhale here. And exhale, taking the fingertips to the floor, blocks, lifting the left leg up and back, standing split. One more big inhale here. Try and pull the heel up as high as you can. And exhale, left toes tap the left wrist, crossing the left leg over. We're gonna unravel the twist, coming into our Malasana squat. One big inhale here. And then on your next few breaths, you can experiment with your little crow caterpillar. Coming forward. Just stepping the hands forward, rocking up into that crow. If you're feeling really tired and you don't want to do any more crow poses, you can always meet me at the top of the mat in a forward fold. Next inhale rolls you all the way up to stand. Arms reach up. Exhale, hands come through the heart, down by the sides. Inhale, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, we fold. Crown of the head drops towards the floor. And we'll take it through your vinyasa, so hands to plant, however you'd like to get there. Meeting me in down dog. You can come through your vinyasa, or you can step straight back. We'll take one more deep breath in here. And take it into the second side. So inhale, drops both elbows at the same time. If you need to grab your block to put between your hands, you may. Left leg lifts. And maybe you experiment with coming up into your forearm balance. Really hugging the belly button into the spine. Next exhale takes the right toes to the floor. Both elbows lift as the left knee bends into the chest. Planting the foot through. And finding your warrior one. Hips lift up and forward. Maybe you pretend like there is a strap wrapped around the back of your front knee and it gently pulls forward. One more big inhale here. And exhale, we peel open, warrior two, readjusting the feet if you need to. Gaze comes over the left middle finger. Big inhale here. As if someone's pulling the rest, arms reach out in both directions. On your next inhale, your right arm sweeps down and forward, coming into your crescent lunge. Big inhale here. On your next exhale, taking it forward, Finding your standing split. Right toes reach up towards the ceiling. Really grounding into that left foot, and make sure you're grounding into all four corners of the foot equally. And on your next exhale, right toes, tap the right wrist, cross the right foot over the left, and then we unravel to the left, finding your Malasana squat. Big inhale here. And exhale, we're going to inchworm our way forward. Finding your way through your crow poses. Finding your way all the way to the top of the mat. And when you get there, we'll meet in a forward fold. Big inhale here. Maybe find a little bit of length in the spine. And exhale, let the head release forward. Inhale takes you to roll all the way to stand, arms reach up overhead. And exhale, fold over the legs. I'll give you one last opportunity if you'd like to take a vinyasa. You may. Or you can just meet me in downward facing dog. Whatever is calling to you. Big inhale here. And exhale, we're just going to tap the knees to the floor. We're just going to walk the hands forward, pulling the chest down towards the floor. Find a puppy pose. So knees are under hips, tops of the feet ground into the floor. Opening across the front of the chest, getting a nice stretch into the shoulders. They've done so much work today. And on your next inhale, you're going to walk the hands back, finding a tabletop position. Inhale, the right arm reaches up towards the sky. We twist over to the right. And exhale, take the right arm underneath of the left, bringing that right cheek to the mat. Maybe the left arm extends overhead. Finding a little thread and needle pose. Just really rinsing out the shoulders. Giving them a big thank you for all of the strength that they provided for this practice today. On your next inhale, taking the left hand back, transiting through your tabletop, and we'll twist open to the other side so left arm reaches up. Big twist. And exhale, left arm threads underneath of the right. Left cheek comes towards the mat. Maybe right arm extends out long. Really feeling the back of the left shoulder blade peeling away. And then on your next breath, you're going to take the right hand in again. Press firmly into the right palm to bring yourself back through tabletop. And then we'll cross over the ankles. We're going to extend the legs out in front. And we're just going to come into a Janu Shirshasana. So left leg bends, left inside of the left foot comes to the right inner thigh. Inhale, finding length in the spine here before we take the fingertips forward. And hands can drop anywhere alongside of the right shin, onto the right shin, or towards the right foot. And your next inhale, we're just going to come back up through the center. Point the left knee up towards the ceiling, and we're going to cross that left foot over the right thigh and just come into a gentle twist. Feeling the opening of the IT band here on the outer left thigh. Rinsing out the low to mid back. And we're going to unravel. Just take that to the second side. So left leg extends out in front. Right foot comes to left inner thigh. Starting with a really tall spine before we start to fold forward. And big inhaling here. Exhale, maybe you find a little bit more fold. Next inhale takes you up through the center. Right knee comes up towards the ceiling to cross the right foot over. And then we hug the elbow into the knee. And we twist over to the right. Pulling the chest tall. Inhales are for finding length in the pose. And then exhales are for finding depth in the pose. Next inhale unravels you. Both of the legs reach out in front. I'm going to roll down through the spine. And then once you've come reclined, you can take legs up the wall here if you've got a wall nearby. Or you can also start to take the legs up towards the ceiling. You can lift the hips if you'd like to. Maybe take the hands to the low back for support. Finding a shoulder stand. Or if you feel ready, you can bend to the knees and then extend the toes towards the floor behind your head. Coming into a plow pose. Hands can stay to the low back for support, or they can come to the floor. Making sure to keep your gaze straight forward here. Don't want to be turning your head side to side. And slowly with control, I'm going to lower the hips all the way back down to the floor. You can bend the knees here. Tap the feet to the floor, and then open the knees out to either side. Soles of the feet come together to touch for Supta Baddha Konasana. Hands can rest on the floor or on the belly. Lengthening out your breath as much as you possibly can. And letting your body know that it is time for rest. And especially when we do a practice that is as strong as that, it's even more important to be very intentional about how we wind down. It's really important to send a message to your nervous system that it doesn't need to be in fight or flight mode anymore. Because when we introduce physical intensity to the body, our body automatically does go into that fight or flight response. So we need to give our body that indication that it is now safe to rest. And so you can stay here if you'd like to, or you can extend your legs fully for a traditional Shavasana. And I'm just going to give you a few minutes of silence here. To let all the benefits of the practice be appreciated. And I'll let you know when it's time to come back. Starting to gently reawaken the body here. Bending into the elbows and knees. Finding a little movement into the fingertips and toes. And maybe you're shaking your head no, giving the back of your skull a massage along the floor. And then keeping the eyes closed. Whenever you're ready, we're going to make our way up to a comfortable seat. So you can roll to one side or rock through the center. And just meeting me either seated on the shins or cross-legged. There's always the invitation to stay in Shavasana longer if you have the time and would like to. And wherever you've ended up, we'll take one big deep breath in together through the nose. A little pause at the top of the breath. And exhale. Let it out through the mouth. And you can gently blink the eyes to open. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope to see you again for other practices. So until next time, thank you very much, and I hope that you're feeling a little bit more open.